Live in HD from the station that brings you more West Texas news. News West 9 at 10 starts now.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A team from the National Transportation Safety Board landed in Midland today. They're charged with the tough task of investigating yesterday's fatal train crash that took the lives of 4 veterans.
Tonight, the train is gone and the wreckage cleared out, but they're far from pinpointing what caused the tragedy. Jen Kastner joins us live from the scene to tell you what investigators are faced with. Jen.
Mike, Crystal, investigators have taken down the yellow tape and the barriers have been removed. Right now, this just looks like a regular railroad crossing intersection, but they will be back out here tomorrow continuing their investigation. Now, here's what we know right now from today. Apparently, all of the video and the data recorders from the 3 Union Pacific locomotive engines were downloaded and placed on an airplane. That airplane then flew back to Washington, D.C., where it is now being analyzed. And then when it comes to the driver of the semi that was pulling the floats, we've learned that he has voluntarily given a blood sample at the hospital that will be analyzed now by lab technicians. Another interesting fact here, investigators say there is no doubt that the train was traveling below the posted speed limit. Take a listen to an official that briefed us on this.
This part of the track has a 70 mile per hour track speed, and the locomotive was going at 62 miles per hour at the time of the accident. We're also able to determine that there was emergency braking prior to the collision. Clearly, one of the next steps is for us to determine when that braking started and the strength of the braking.
The NTSB will continue to perform a 72-hour sleep history of all of the parties that were operating machinery during the accident. That's all we have for right now, but stay with us on NewsWest9.com and our News West 9 Facebook page for the latest. For now, reporting live in Midland, Jen Kastner, News West 9.
Well, as the community continues to mourn the loss of those veterans, tonight we know more about their lives.
They were all honored with medals for their sacrifice and service to our country. 47-year-old Sergeant Major Lawrence Boyven retired from the Army after 24 years of active duty. He was awarded the Silver Star, Bronze Star, and a Purple Heart. Boyven leaves behind his wife Angela and 2 stepdaughters.
37-year-old active duty Chief Warrant Officer Gary Stouffer was a Marine and was stationed at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. He received several awards and medals for his service, and he was up for a Purple Heart, which had not yet been approved. Stouffer's wife was on the float with him at the time of the crash, but she survived and headed home today. He also leaves behind a daughter and a son.
43-year-old Sergeant Major William Lubbers spent 21 of his 24 years with the Army with the Special Forces. Lubbers received several awards, including 3 Bronze Stars and a Purple Heart. He leaves behind his wife, Tiffany, who is currently in serious condition at a Lubbock hospital. She was with him on the parade float when the train struck. They have a daughter and a son.
And 34-year-old retired Army Sergeant Joshua Michael was a paramedic in Amarillo. He joined the Army shortly after 9/11. Michael was injured 3 times by explosive devices and awarded 2 Purple Hearts. His mother-in-law says that Michael pushed his wife, Daylin, off of the trailer just before the train hit. She survived. Michael leaves behind his wife, daughter, and son.
Well, as the community grieves for the veterans lost in this tragedy, there is some promising news for those who were injured in the crash. Out of the 16 people sent to the hospital from the accident, 11 have been treated and released. 4 remain hospitalized. We're told that 1 veteran and 2 spouses are listed in stable condition. The other spouse is in critical condition. One of the first people on the scene was Dr. Sudip Bose. He tells us right after the accident, the veterans sprang into action.
All the veterans here who were involved in the parade, their training kicked in and they were actually helping each other even before the paramedics got on the scene.
News West 9 will continue to monitor those patients' progress and keep you updated on their conditions.
And even as emergency responders are being praised tonight for the amazing job they did in dealing with this crisis, some are now dealing with their own emotions.
Jeff Stebbins explains one of the most overlooked casualties of this tragedy, the mind.
The wreckage of yesterday's tragedy is almost cleared, but the psychological wreckage will linger on for many.
The amount of human suffering and just the emotion of what has gone on is really difficult for a lot of folks to deal with, and we have some expertise in the fire department that we've extended out.
Midland Fire Chief Robert Isbell was in Dallas when the incident happened, but as soon as he got the call, he headed straight back home. But even a seasoned veteran in emergency response is never fully immune to the psychological impact of violence.
Even first responders, tenured, highly trained first responders, try to make sense of tragic accidents, and that bears a weight on individuals.
To help others make sense of what they saw, the fire department has counselors working not only in hospitals and homes, but also within their own administration. And although his line of work has brought him face to face with more than his fair share of pain and suffering, Isbell says yesterday was among the worst.
It's taken an emotional toll on everyone, on the community, on the nation, to know that we had heroes.
Yeah.
I've seen some of this, and it's just hard to deal with. I've seen some of our guys, it's hard to deal with.
Jeff Stebbins, News West 9.
Veterans all over the basin are obviously heartbroken over the loss of their own. We spoke with Michael Kahn at the Odessa VFW. He feels it's such a shame that these brave men and women dodged bullets overseas only to be killed in a parade that was honoring them.
It made me cry. I mean, I know what they went through, and it just, like I said, I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do.
Kahn tells us the VFW in Odessa is collecting donations to help out the victims and their families.
Support for the victims and their families poured in today as young and old opened their wallets and gave from their hearts this morning. News West 9 teamed up with our radio station partner Town Square Media for the Hearts for Heroes fundraiser. On-air personalities from B93, KODM, KBAT, Lone Star 92, and News West 9 were at Taco Villa on Midland Drive and Andrews Highway taking those donations. Now, everyone who showed up had their own reason for sharing.
These people go out, they go to Afghanistan, they go around the world to fight for our freedom, and to come home after all that and be killed in a car crash it's terrible.
Because we want to help them.
Now, today's fundraiser collected at this point about $105,000. That number is expected to grow. If you didn't get a chance to make it out this morning, you can still lend a hand. An account has been set up at Complex Community Federal Credit Union. You can donate at any branch location. Town Square Media will also be taking donations tomorrow at Walmart on North Loop 250 in Midland, beginning at 10 o'clock in the morning and running until 1.